How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? I appreciate you stopping by today. Yeah, that's right, we changed things up a little bit. Thank you so much for stopping by today, and we're here to talk about my girl Sucrose. And I know what you guys might be thinking. You know, you might be like, Patty, she's amazing, 10 out of 10. I use her every single day. And I'd be like, oh my god, really? No kidding. What are you doing with her? Oh, she's great for expeditions. No, no, no. She's also good for crafting. But no, for real, she is such a overlooked character, and her kit is really, really interesting. So I wanted to do a video where we took a look at her and everything. Now I've actually built mine up a little bit. I'm not building her as in she is 100% in my main team, but she is one of the people that I'm building up to be part of my team B. Once I get far enough in Abyss that's going to start being a thing. I have my girl almost ready. Almost ready. Plus, you know, we got to do a video on her, so we got to do something with her. Can't be like, welcome to this level 1 hero. That's rough. I'm not trying to treat my girl like this. So what's her kit? Let's go ahead and start there. So she's a mage. She can attack from range and everything. She's attacking with Animo, which can be great for causing little mini swirls with her normal attacks. It's good stuff. Good stuff. A little bit like the Animo version of Lisa. That's the most easy way to set that up and everything. Once we go into her second skill, creates a small wind spirit that deals Animo damage. Basically, it's just a big swirl explosion. Again, think very similar to E. It's just not based around her as the epicenter. It's wherever she's summoning this little sprite, right? Her ultimate hurls an unstable concoction that creates a large wind sprite. While it persists, the large wind sprite will continuously pull and launch nearby enemies, dealing Animo damage. And it's got a sub-skill of elemental absorption. If the wind spirit comes into contact with hydro, pyro, cryo, or electro elements, it will deal additional elemental damage of that type. Elemental absorption may occur once per use. So that's the simple stuff and everything, and this is the things that you really don't want to miss about her kit because of how impactful they can be when used correctly. Her first constellation, her first ascension will unlock this passive. When Sucrose triggers a swirl effect, characters in the party with the matching element have their elemental mastery increased by 50 for 8 seconds. So just whenever she triggers a swirl, it basically boosts her boosts everybody's elemental mastery. She's one of the only characters in the game that can boost elemental mastery with her skills alone, not even talking like artifacts and stuff. So she's basically a free instructor set, just with how she works. When you get her to 4-star and everything, when unstable, Animo stasis, yeah, we're just not even trying that. Basically, when either of her 2 skills hit an enemy, it increases other party members' elemental mastery based on 20% of Sucrose's elemental mastery for 8 seconds. That's, again, nice. Nice. I do believe that this can be triggered the same way along with this one, so that's just a lot. A lot. And then also, like we joked about in the very beginning, when Sucrose crafts character and weapon enhancement materials, she has a 10% chance to obtain double the product. So she is a great person to use when you're crafting ascension materials and everything, because you just get extra ones out the deal. That is nice. It's real. It's a good thing. You should appreciate that the entire way through. Alright, so let's look at some of her constellations and everything and talk about those before we move on to weapons and how I think you should gear, and then we'll get into like party builds and everything like that. So the very first one, basically your E, your normal ability, gains an additional charge. This gives you more opportunity to create more swirls. Yeah, that's a nice solid little add. Second one, increases the duration of some of I want to say her ultimate. Yeah, I believe that's her ultimate. Taking up levels. Now this is one of the ones you want to pay attention to. If you're pulling on the Clee banner a whole bunch and you got a bunch of spare Sucrose, it ain't a bad thing, especially if you get this deep into the tree. Every 7 normal or charged attacks, Sucrose will reduce the CD. Um, yeah, we're just not going to try and say that, by 1 to 7 seconds. That's, again, that the way that those skills will be tying into just boosting the rest of your team makes her an incredibly strong support. Like, do not undervalue the support ability that this girl has. That is absolutely gross. Then we get increased in levels, and then this one is pretty decent. So if Forbidden Creation triggers an elemental absorption, all party members gain 20% elemental damage bonus for the corresponding absorbed element during its duration. So that's basically when you pop your ultimate and everything, whatever that swirl and interacts with, that specific element that you interact with is now going to have a boosted damage for your team. So that's something that you want to keep in mind when you're basically setting up your parties with her. So it's you have to do a lot of thinking with her, and especially in terms of who you're going to swap to, and you want to be able to figure that out fairly quickly because the benefits don't last forever, so you really have to capitalize in that short amount of time. She's like a sniper. If you line everything up perfect, whatever you're going after is going down. Like, it just ain't nothing anybody can do about it. Baby girl had her shot. She took it. The man's down. So again, I think it just gets so easily missed. Like, she is... I didn't put that much love on her when I was doing my tier list, but that was also before the game came out and we only had the beta experience to really go off of. So, yeah, girls, our girls showing up to work a little bit. So, in terms of weapons, the way that I am using her, especially since I don't have a lot of the stuff in her kit set up, I'm trying to add everything that I can to make her support role easier, and then down the road I might change up how I'm building her a little bit, but for the most part we're definitely building her heavy into the support role. So for the weapon, we're going with Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers. When switching characters, the new character taking the field has the attack increased by 48% for 10 seconds. I think that is an amazing pairing to have when she's already going to be boosting Elemental Mastery for those characters. So personally, this is my favorite weapon to use with her right now. Also, oops, that's not the one I meant to click on. We want to switch. So you could potentially also do Prototype Malice on her, because energy recharge is not a bad thing to grab on her anyways, so anything that's going to feed in and make your Qs more useful is potentially not a bad idea. I only have one of these, and I'm actually going to probably max refine it before I start making another one to put on anyone else. So that's right now Barbara's baby, because I get way more value out of Barbara having that weapon. But if you're not really using your Barbara, you know, this is one that you could consider. This one isn't bad, but I don't believe that elemental damage bonus carries over to the next character that you go to switch to. If it does, then this is more of a reason that you could, you know, justify using this, especially since it has elemental mastery as its secondary stat. But I'm not building my Sucrose for damage. More towards endgame, could you potentially get some good DPS out of her? Possibly. I can't speak on that yet, so I ain't going to try to lie to you about it. But for where I and probably most people are right now who are getting her and thinking about using her, it's going to be much easier to get the value out of using her as a support, and as her being in the support role, the extra damage isn't going to make that big of a difference for what we're trying to go with her. So that's the reason why I'm rocking my book right here, which is Max Refine, to just make the next person an absolute bully. So yeah, and then there's not really if you're actually absolutely broke and don't have anything else, this wouldn't be bad. But you know, the same thing that where we talked about this, your damage isn't really what you should be looking at too much. But this is probably the best 3-star weapon to use after this one, in my opinion. Maybe down the road, when we're later game, there could be an argument to try and do this, but chances are you would have a, you know, better 4 or 5-star weapon to put on her than this. So I know this sounds really good, but I don't know how much success you're gonna have building your Sucrose for damage and everything. It's not so much of what you're going to get from her like swirl damage and stuff like that. It's, the fact that you're going to be able to use her swirl to spread an element that you want over all of the enemies. Have your elemental mastery boosted for the character that you're then going to switch to, and go for the combo elemental reaction damage. You know what I mean? She isn't on that side of the damage calculator that much. So that if that's the only choice, do what you need to. And then, yeah, that's not really worth it. That's definitely not really worth it. You're broke, but again, not not something that I think would be super, super amazing. Let me know if there's any other weapons, because I don't have a whole ton of 4-star and 5-star ones, but I'm sure a couple of those are pretty strong. If you know of an absolutely ridiculous one, let me know about it. But as far as weapons, that's definitely what I recommend at the moment. And then getting into the artifacts. As you can see, we are rolling an instructor set. Because why just stop boosting, elemental mastery? Why don't we just keep on feeding into that the best that we can? So in terms of the way we're actually doing some of the gear pieces and everything, the three most important ones are, which percentages are you going for on these tail three? I'm doing energy recharge on the first one. I could have gone elemental mastery on this one too. I'm like 90%. Yeah, no, I do have one for this slot. But her being in her support role, elemental bursts are typically a really good thing to have up quickly on your supports, so that you're getting a little bit more value out of them. Once she's built further on and you have her past 4-star ascension and everything, and she's getting extra elemental burst from her Q, then that's going to be even more important. So we're just going to put a little bit right there right now anyways. Then we've got Elemental Mastery and Elemental Mastery. Really just trying to get all the Elemental Mastery that we can on this girl, since her entire job involves around her elemental ability and either spreading damage or spreading effects, or boosting other people's elemental mastery based on what her elemental mastery is. Now, I don't have all that stuck through the constellations and ascension levels for her yet, but this is absolutely 100% the way that I would recommend building her. And you could go for just elemental mastery on all three of these slots, or you could go for like HP percent or something. But she really shouldn't be out and about enough that you really need to worry about putting defensive stats on her. Inside the Abyss, you would have a stronger case for that, but she has more use than just the Abyss. But she is absolutely amazing in late game Abyss. That's why I want to, put a little bit of shine and have people start thinking about this girl now, because she is very useful down the road. Excuse me, down the road. Just absolutely gross. I really don't know how much I would, recommend going for, something like the Wanderer's Trope on her. I think that would be much better on, Fischl, Amber, Venti, someone where you're actually using the bow. Even though it does boost catalyst damage, I still recommend, at least when you build her initially. Now, if you're AR40, AR45, you have a little bit more flexibility. I would probably go for the Animo set in that instance. I want to say, is it farmed? Nope, not there. Yeah, so you could go Viridescent and everything for her towards the later game and everything, but if you're watching a guide on building Sucrose, chances are you're not AR 40, 45. There's probably nothing I could tell players up there, considering I'm only, AR 32 right now? Yeah, so this is for me and all of the other casuals, I should say, but where most people are going to be when they get her, she's definitely, I've killed a couple of bosses with her earlier. She is not bad for me to use right now in World Level 3, I want to say. I'll do a little bit of combat with her, but real quick, let's talk about the party setup a little bit. Okay, we're not too obnoxious on time yet. I'm trying not to do 30-minute videos every time we talk about a character, but it's pretty easy to rattle on about them. Alright, so let's look at I've got a couple of different parties for her setup right now. This one is the one that I would use for the most part, just because Razor is my main DPS, so I'm going to have the easiest time making this team work, trying to use her. Because I also already have my Fischl also built to boost Elemental Mastery with her kit as well. So those two are just going to play real nicely together. Barbara is here to keep everybody alive, but also her applying her Hydro is going to be easily spreadable by Sucrose. There's many fights where I will start with Barbara, get a few people wet, pop over to Sucrose, use their E, get that everybody affected by Hydro that I can, switch to my Fischl, pop out my Bird, which then she also boosts a little bit of Elemental Mastery. By that point, the Elemental Mastery bonus from her instructor set, you know, has a good chance of dropping off, so refreshing it with Fischl before going into my boy Razor and just tearing up the damage. And this combo is only going to get stronger as I get more stuff for my Sucrose and build her higher. Through constellations and the talents that you get from getting her ascensions up. It's going to be a very aggressive combo. There's a decent chance that this might be one of my two teams, depending on, of course, the levels that I'm doing in Abyss, but I definitely have enjoyed this one the most out of all the ones that we've looked at so far. Well, all the ones that we're going to look at so far. So this one is, you know, for my people that also have pulled a bunch of Chikwe? God, I forget the names so quickly. I literally practice the names, and then I still trip over them every time. But the Water Boy here, who you can also get through the banner right now, is very good himself. And you can do the same kind of thing with him as Barbara, where we're using his E ability to apply Hydro. Then we can use Sucrose to spread that around everywhere. And then Amber and Noelle to do a little bit of damage. This and the other build that I have are both, in my opinion, pretty free-to-play friendly, because everybody should have Noelle, and there's a good chance a few people will get the Water Boy from this event, or sorry, from this banner. And he's amazing, especially paired with Noelle. And then Amber's kind of here just to do weak point damage when that comes up. And, you know, set some stuff on fire. It's going to be relatively easy to also, you know, use either her charge shot to set something on fire. Like, literally, I can just set the grass on fire if I wanted to. Use Sucrose. Now everything's on fire. I can switch to our boy here. Get Hydro up with his E. And now things are getting vaporized. They're taking more damage. We can bring it home with Noelle, who's also going to keep our team topped up. So this is also a very viable combo for some more of the, you know, free-to-play units and everything that you guys might be using. And then this is also a free-to-play team, but a little bit more of an aggressive one. Everybody should have her through getting above Abyss rank 3. Yeah, level 3. Barbara, also, if you've gotten over Adventure rank 20 by 1.1, everybody has her right now. And then, obviously, we're assuming you have Sucrose if you're watching a Sucrose video. And then our girl, Lisa. So this is a little bit more of a diverse team. This team's going to be better equipped to deal with elemental reactions on a much wider range, since we have 4 separate ones and we're not doubling up on any. The reason that the team that we just talked about doesn't really have that, because Geo is such a passive and defensive interaction, that you might run into some fights where if, you know, water or fire aren't really going to help you out in damage at all, it's going to be a little bit of a slogfest. So this is a little bit more of a diverse team. Everybody here has the ability to apply a elemental and a area effect, essentially. Either it's from Lisa's charged ability or her elemental skill, to Barbara using just her normal attacks, or Zhengling throwing out her fire raccoon and him just going to town. Everybody should be able to set up Sucrose for whatever is going to be the elemental advantage in that situation. So This team also, I usually build my Lisas with instructor set as well, so we should be boosting lots of elemental interactions all across the board. But, oops, that's not the button I meant to hit. Good thing I have that first constellation. I have 2 charges. So we'll do a little bit of fighting real quick, just kind of show you what we're looking at. What challenge is this going to be? I probably should have checked that. Also, if you didn't know, you can use slam attack from a very high distance to where you would have otherwise gotten fall damage. I have been doing memeier and memeier things with that recently. Okay, so we just gotta defeat these guys. That's cool. Like I said, we're gonna open up with Barbara. Oop, that might have applied too much fire. It wasn't still on there. But now, you know, everybody's in flames. Bam. Just lots of everything's dead. Everything's dead. I'm a bit of a bully. If you want to see how her Q works, where's the next wave at, guys? You coming to work, everybody? Ooh, being sneaky. Being sneaky. I don't appreciate that, sir. Sir. I would like your friends to get a little bit closer, sir. Oh, it's raining. That is, that'll make things nice. So, her Q, you're not... It is somewhat of a decent crowd control effect, but it's definitely, there are better, like Venti's is obviously going to be way nastier of a crowd control, but it's definitely effective. Yeah, we just kind of murder everybody with Fischl and Razor after she does her thing. Excuse me, sir. Oh, what happened to your flaming sword? Is it not a flaming sword no more? So, you don't have a super wide window there to be able to spread the Hydro, so you have to be pretty quick with switching to her and popping your E. Guys, I'm gonna need you to just stop for a moment, set you on fire a little bit. I'd like to have a word. Stop hitting that crystal, bro. We got some problems. And then our boy Razor just to finish it off because he is a bit of a bully. But hopefully you guys are enjoying Sucrose if you've gotten her. If you've gotten a few constellations in her and you weren't thinking about building her, you absolutely should. I'm not going to tell you that she is going to have the biggest and quickest impact on your game if you're like between AR 30 and 35. But you're not going to be absolutely wrong to start putting a little bit of stuff into her and everything. So I think she's a super strong character and can be used in a lot of situations. And I just don't see her getting a whole lot of love. So we just wanted to do a nice little video where like, no, girl showing up to work. You better appreciate her when she clocking in, because she clocking in for work. Alright guys, thank you so much for stopping by today. Hopefully this video was helpful to you. If you could, I would super appreciate it if you could leave me a like, leave me a comment. That kind of stuff really helps fight the algorithm. And we're this close to hitting 5,000 subs. So thank you guys so much, and if you could help me get there, I'd super appreciate you. Alright guys, thank you so much, and you're going to have to catch your boy in the next one, because we out of here. Deuces.